Hi, my name is Emily, and this is the Delight Knits podcast. This is episode 35. Today is Sunday, July 30th of 2023, and this is my podcast where I like to talk about all that I've knit on, all of my knitting. So I will do my best to get everything linked down in the description box. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It has been 3 weeks since I've podcasted last. So I've got a couple finished objects, and 2 whips and a couple acquisitions. And that's about it. Been pretty obsessed with one project, that you will notice I made a lot of progress on. And then I have one new cast on since the last time. So I am wearing my Flores, which is a pattern by Eri Shimizu, if I remember. Everything's woven in, but I have not trimmed them, woven in, blocked. I just need to actually get the scissors out and trim them, which I will probably do after this. But I love this. It's a broken rib. It's a great pattern. I did veer off of the pattern for the hemming, and I say that when in the podcast where I actually talk about when I finished it, when I showed it off as an FO. So my one FO from that I cast on and have used is another swatch for Addie of Ruby and Roses yarn. I knit a bunch of these, and if you follow her Instagram and her on YouTube, she's been posting them with her colorway reveals of her Yarnary collections. Yarnary Islands collection or Yarnary, I think it's Yarnary Islands collection. I can't remember. But yeah, this is Streetcar. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's based off of the Hearth pattern, but I knit all of those swatches for her, all of the knit ones. I think she shows off in each of her pictures 2 knit and 2 crochet, and I did all the knit ones. And I'm going to be knitting more for her so she can make them all into a blanket, so it's actually useful for her. So here's one of those. I'm just casting them on and using them whenever I get it, whenever I just feel like doing something small. So I did that last week, and then I also finished my Mist Tea by Leslie Ann Robinson. This one is in the book Brioche for Beginners and Beyond. I think I did the size 2, and I think the only difference I did was I did the brioche part a little bit longer. I'm not super fan of cropped items, so yeah, that is this. I still haven't woven in all the ends and stuff, but yeah, it looks pretty wide, and I actually let me put it on, but I love it. So, the colorway on this one is Snowdrift by ZZ Textiles. And then these colorways are Ruby and Roses yarn, the pink. So the main color that stands out in the brioche is Tattered Pages. And then the blue is Twilight. The Tattered Pages does have a sparkle to it, but you can't see it that much on camera. You can see it a little bit in person. But yeah, that is this. Let me step out of frame and put it on real quick. Alrighty, so it is still cropped. It's got a pretty wide neckline. I'm not the biggest fan of. I still need to block it as well. And so all of these horizontal stripes are garter. And so I think it's still pretty cropped. But I think they will drop, and it'll be just about at my waistline. My work pants come up a little bit higher, and jeans that I wear, so yeah, I think that this will get lots of wear. I plan on wearing this to DFW Fiberfest. I am taking Leslie's class of the Designing with Brioche, her new class. I did the textural brioche last year, and I just think the Designing with Brioche will be fun. A fun new thing. I don't know if I will ever design. I would love to, but I mean, let's be real, do I have time for designing patterns and doing all of that with a full-time job? Also teaching 2 college classes a semester, adjunct for a different school, and 2 young kids. And knitting for my, like, things that I want to do. So, that is this pattern. I will probably just keep this one on, just ignore all the ends. There's a lot of ends. There are short rows in the back. You can tell where it's just the pink, and on each of the shoulders. I think I do wish I would have brought this in a little bit. It'd be easy. It's an easy adjustment to do, and I just wish I did it. I'm not going back to do it though. But that's good. So, Miss T by Leslie Ann Robinson. And so it's brioche here, and brioche there, and of course all on the bottom. Yeah, I like this. Will enjoy wearing it. And as soon as it's not 90 to 100 degrees every day, I will probably start wearing them to work. Because I've got this one, I've got the Flores, and then I also have, what other tee do I have? I wore yesterday my Outline Raglan by Jessie May, that I wore to the Arkansas Yarn Crawl yesterday. If I get fancy with it, I will edit and put a picture of me and Lindsay of Always Yarn First in here. So, and I'm wearing that Outline Raglan. So I've got a few different short sleeve shirts that I would love to start wearing more. But it's, even with 90 to 100 degrees, and we've got pretty high humidity here in Arkansas, it's miserable to wear even just a short sleeve. So, yeah. So, whips. I've got, let's start with the one that you've seen. So this is in my new Arkansas Yarn Crawl bag. Every year they give a bag for the people who are going to the different stores. This year it is black, and it's actually wider, and more of a, yeah, it's wider and box bottom. The other ones are a little bit longer and not as wide. So I like that change this year. But this is my Cardi by Anna of the Bluebird Box, and I'm using my Ruby and Roses yarn scraps and her 2022 Advent. So I'm gonna put it on because that'll probably be the best way to show it off. Last time you saw this, I was right here. I had not, I think I had just recently split, because right here's where you keep it all in one piece, and then you split and do the front and the back for this long. You do to the front and back. So I just split for that. The yarn management on this thing's been kind of a mess, but so it is a raglan. It is fingering weight held together. So 2 strand is fingering weight, and so that helps the fade. So I've got my sleeves done. Golly, that is more cropped than I thought, but it'll block out. Okay. I've got the sleeves done, and so this is garter. The sleeves are stocking knit, and so the garter, when I block it, will definitely drop, and I am hoping and praying that it will drop to where everything lines up. Oh, I'm so excited. I love it. But yeah, my sleeves are done. I ordered some ink blot from Ruby and Roses yarn to go for the cuffs, and I think I'm gonna do, the pattern has options of a, let me get my face in here. The pattern has options of a brioche. You can do brioche for the cuffs, the hemming on the bottom, and there's a button band that you knit separately and seam on. So you can do brioche, but I think I'm gonna do the ribbing. The brioche is just, it doesn't cinch in as much as I think I'm going to want it to, because it is pretty, these sleeves are pretty fitted right now. I'm knitting the size 2. I think I'll get a little bit of room. I like the fit of them, but I think the brioche will, or the ribbing will bring it in more like I want. So there's my ends there, and then you can see the bulge of the yarn right there. But yeah, keeping these on, it was a math love of getting the stuff or the weights figured out to be able to make them even across like it is, how I can have this about the same, or what am I trying to say? The math of trying to figure out like how much yarn to put here, here, and here, because that's three separate three separate locations, so I need three separate balls. I enjoy that part. Talking with Lindsay of Always Yarn First yesterday, I just said I love doing the math of that. And so Lindsay, I expect to be hearing from you if you have any math questions. And I was kind of explaining about how I like split, how it's fairly easy, at least to me, of like figuring out how much yarn needs to go on for each section, and I split out each ball before I started that section. And some people may just you may just not even want to listen if you're not a math person and not enjoy it. But so say you've got 250 stitches for the body, you've got 50 stitches here in sleeve 1 and 50 stitches in sleeve 2. So you've got a total of 350 stitches, right? Well, you've got a ball of yarn, so if you're using an advent, it's about 20 grams of yarn, right? So one row around every single item or separate piece that you're knitting, or separate part that you're knitting in the piece, is going to take, one row is going over 350 stitches. So you take your 50 stitches over your 350 and you get a percentage, and that would be like, so 3 grams of this 20 gram needs to go to this sleeve, 3 gram needs to go to this sleeve, and then the rest is gonna go in the body. And so that's how I split that up. It's so much easier to do on paper. I'm not a word person, I'm a numbers person. If you have not figured that out yet. So yeah, that's just word vomit about numbers. But if you have any knitting math questions, please send them my way. I would enjoy it. Instagram, DM me, or anything. Comment down below. I'll answer you. I'll do what I can. Might have to just send you a spreadsheet of it, but I can do that. So yeah, Ruby and Rose's yarn advent. I held tattered pages because I had quite a bit all the way through the top to, you can see about right here where it starts getting a little bit darker. I did organize the yarn colorways by depth of shade, I think is what she calls it. Anna of the Bluebird Box has a appendix to this pattern that talks about organizing your yarn color, or how to fade. And she talks about doing it by depth of color. I think that's what it was. I don't know if I have that printed off. I think it's color depth, there's color tone, instead of your actual colorways. Let's see, I do have that. Let me find the right page. So like if I were to do all the pinks, it would go really, or color value is what she says. And I think I showed these off last time. So like here you're organized by color value, where you go the lighter colors into the darker colors. Well, in here you're going by color family, and so it's a little bit more stripy, which mine's still more stripy. I mean, you're not going to get away from that with not yarn that's not meant to fade, but it fades in a little bit easier. So like you can see in this pink to green, this green to pink section, how the green kind of fades in a little bit. I did alternate with the tattered pages in the green and the tattered pages in the pink for a little bit. Maybe we'll see it on the sleeve a little better. Yeah, right in here, to make it fade easier. But I don't know, I love it. I literally finish with one ball and pick up the next and just start going. You can see all of my ends there. I am knitting over my ends when I am able to, and I'm knitting on the right side to where I can hold my yarn in the back. But when I'm knitting on the wrong side and I'm not able to knit over my ends to where they'll flow through on the right side or on the wrong side, I leave them and I will come back in and weave them in. So it's not that much. Yeah, the ends are a little insane. Not that many on that side. There's quite a bit on this side, but I foresee knitting more of these for myself. I could even almost do it without or wear one without the button band. So it also comes in and it'll close. I don't think the button band actually has, what does she call it? She calls it a collar. I don't think it's an actual button band where there's buttons on it. I think it's just a collar. And there's pockets. So I'm gonna try the pockets too. They're afterthought pockets. So I'll cut in and yeah. But I've been loving this project. It's kind of going on the back burner for a little bit. My yarn for the stuff, edgings should have come in yesterday, but it got held up in Little Rock. So I'm hoping it comes in tomorrow. I've also got sample yarn that's supposed to come in tomorrow because I'm knitting something else for Addie. I feel like I'm always knitting stuff for Addie, which I love. I love it. But, yep, so that's the project. I love it. I love it. I could go on and on about this. A lot of people, so I was working on it a little bit yesterday at Arkansas Yarn Co. And a lot of people complimented on it, which I really appreciate. And I like it a lot, or I considered the garter marler for a long time before I saw this pattern. And I know personally that I love raglan shaping better than the yoke shaping, the one, although I'm knitting a yoke sweater now. But the one other yoke sweater that I've knit, the armhole like came down here, and then so when you lift your arm, the whole body comes up. And I just wasn't a fan of that. That's not a yoke sweater, that's a raglan. Forget what I said about my next whip. So I haven't knit yoke sweaters besides, there's one colorwork one that I did finish, but I did not like the way it fit. I knew I wasn't going to wear it, so I ended up ripping it out. So you can see the project page in Ravelry, but it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, and I just haven't knit a yoke sweater since. It's just my preference. I do love the drop shoulder. I think that's kind of like what this is. This one's knit from the bottom up. And then I love the raglans as well. So that is that project. My next project is in a new bag that I purchased yesterday. So it is by String Crazy Bags. She does not currently have an Etsy shop, but I think she's trying to set one up, if I'm not wrong. And if I can get this up pretty soon, I might try and edit this today, and we'll see if I can get it up tomorrow. I think Lori said that they were going to be in the online and through Wednesday, which would be the 2nd of August. So, but here's the bag. I think it's gorgeous. I immediately went to her stand of bags in the store because I knew I didn't really need yarn, but I needed I wanted a new bag. So this is gorgeous. I love it. I love the teal. So it's got the handle here. It does have a pocket on the inside here. You can see with my 2 shorty sets. And then there's also a little ring clasp in here. So, and it's just white fabric on the inside. But I love it. It's gorgeous. I will use it. And I immediately, when I got it, transferred this whip into here. So this is, let's show the yarn first. So this is yarn that I dyed a week ago tomorrow. So it is 100% superwash. And I had bought some new dyes. 2 months ago, a month ago. So this is Valentine Blush in some variegated form. I did not even like write down anything that I did, but I love it. And then this next colorway is Steel Blue plus some Sky Blue, I think is what it was, or Sea Spray, somewhere in there. But I love this color. Oh, no, not really. Somewhat similar. I love this color. So this is my main color, and this is my contrast color. You can see my swatch, and maybe you'll figure out what I'm knitting, because I am knitting the Allie's sweater light. So here's my swatch. It was blocked, but it's been sitting in a bag, so it's a little wrinkly now. And it's a mess because swatching around. But here is my Allie's swatch. Allie's Sweater Light swatch by Sarah Opie. It's S Knits on Instagram, or she's S Knits on Instagram. But I have got quite a bit done. I cast this on Wednesday. And so here is the sweater. I should have put it on bigger needles. But yeah, it's my first Colorworks sweater. It's a fold over hem for the collar. And I love the way this fits. I've put it on multiple times. You've got short rows in the 1x1 colorwork at the top, so you can see where they stop there, and then there's not any up here. But yeah, and then you can see the diamonds, the raglan. I don't know why I said this was a yoke. It's a raglan. I'm about to lose some stitches. I need to get myself some stitch stoppers. It's gonna be a goal for DFW. But yeah, I just finished my first raglan repeat, and so I am hoping to get through another today. This is due in September 1st, I believe, which is doable for me since I only have these 2 whips. I just really, really want to get through the color work because I have been greatly enjoying knitting and reading in the evenings. And I can't obviously do that with this. So, I got to get through this color work as fast as possible. Let me show you my floats. I don't know. Tell me what you think, if you can even tell. I am not catching my floats because I feel like the few times that I've done that, when I have done color work, they come through, like you can see it on the front. So it is a little wonky on the rows where I have like 5 of one color in a row, but yeah. And there's one row with 7 in a row. Like you can see right here, this big stitch and stuff. I'm hoping that'll block out when it's done. And I can always like shift the stitches and adjust each single stitch tension. I'll play around with it. It'll be fine. But I love this sweater. I did, before this test call went up, I had literally 2 weeks ago, ordered a sweater quantity of yarn to knit the DK version. So I will have 2 versions of these, the DK and the fingering. But I'm pretty proud of these colors. I like it. My other ones are, the colorways that I'm going to use are Collins for the main color by ZZ Textiles, which is a light blue. And Homespun Quilt by Coast to Coast Yarn, which is a deep purple speckle variegated. Love it. But yeah, that is that project, and that is all that I have knit on in the last 3 weeks, which I feel like is a lot. I have done a lot on that sweater, and honestly, if it weren't for this and the yarn of the the edging yarns, I ordered them a couple weeks ago, and I knew they were going to take 2 to 3 weeks to come in. So if I ordered them sooner, that would have been done, without a doubt. So I do have some other purchases. So last week I was in Dallas with my family, but that Friday was the start of the Arkansas Yarn Crawl, and so I spent this Friday and Saturday, yesterday and the day before, going to Arkansas Yarn Co., and I went to Knit Unto Others in Arkadelphia on Friday to support those two stores for the Arkansas Yarn Crawl. In Knit Unto Others in Arkadelphia, pardon all the dog hair that came from my house, I got, this is one of my favorite things to purchase from that store, Barocco Comfort Sock. I'm about to sneeze. Okay. Barocco Comfort Sock. This is colorway 1824. I've got 4 or 5 of these. I love these for gifts, or knitting socks for gifts, gift knitting. So just nice to have in stash. And I also got a Calaza socks. This one's wool. So this one is 50% nylon, 50% acrylic. But it's super soft. I love it. And my socks that I knit out of these, I actually put in the washer and dryer, and they do just fine. Wash them just like normal socks. This is 70% superwash wool and 25% nylon. Color shade 175. It's made in Italy. But I liked the colors. I think it's going to be some kind of self-striping. I will enjoy it. But those are what I bought at Knit Unto Others in Arkadelphia. And then in Malvern at Arkansas Yarn Co., I bought the bag. And then I bought myself one of the twice sheared sheep sock rulers. I've always kind of wanted a sock ruler, but like putting the paper ones or plastic ones that are like this long in a bag didn't appeal to me. I didn't want them all bent up. I'm pretty I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't want to say anal, but not that far, but close to it. But these are the sock rulers where it's got the different shoe sizes for kids, women, men, and then on the other side it's got the ruler and the instructions of how to do it. And it is a slap bracelet, so it'll curl up perfectly in my sock bag. So this will stay in there, and I enjoy that. And I also got another set of, or just not set, but a Chagu twist tips, and that ends US 6 4mm because both of the sweaters that I'm working on are using it, and I foresee needing more. So that's what I got yesterday, and I had a blast hanging out there. It wasn't, from what Lindsay said, it wasn't as busy as it was the week prior, which is perfectly fine. You can have conversations a lot easier that way. So I really enjoyed getting to talk to ladies. I met a few new ladies there. I talked to Lindsay quite a bit, and Lori, and yeah, it was just fun. And I hope to be able to do that a little more here in the future, is just hanging out with some people and knitting. It's nice to get that time to yourself when you have young kids. So yeah, that's all that I have really going on. I don't really know what else there's to talk about. I am trying to do better with my hair. I feel like I did today and yesterday. Instead of just in a bun. But okay, well, I will try to podcast again in 2 weeks, and I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully I will have a finished Gardy Cardi. Maybe quite a bit more done on my Allie's sweater test knit. And you'll see a few other things on the needles, possibly, because I only have these 2. Like, I don't even have socks. I haven't been wanting to knit socks, so we'll see. I did draft up a pattern for myself. but I haven't done anything but write it out in the computer. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just do what I want to with the knitting. I need to weave in all these ends and get this blocked as well. It's a mess. But okay, have a great couple of weeks, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.